Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Scottish Property Podcast. My name is Stephen Clark and I'm joined as always with my co-host Nick Ponte. How are you, Nick?
Yeah, really good, Stephen. Excited to introduce this week's guest. So his name is Gary Wells. He's actually a former professional football player. So a really interesting backstory. He went from playing for, Hearts, Kilmarnock, played at top level, through to now investing in property.
It's interesting because I really like his honest, genuine story as well. And you think you've come from a professional football player. He's bags of money in the bank. He's went and started investing into property, and he's going to go a portfolio massive. But they didn't get the right financial education during his kind of football career, so he didn't actually start with any money in property, which would be kind of contradicting the popular belief that they would start with money. He didn't, so he's went about it and built up from scratch, which I think is really good.
Yeah, no, he's really down to earth guy, and you'll hear that from the podcast. And it was a great chat. Him and his wife Michelle built up a good brand. It's called Hame Property, which I love. You love it as well, and they're on Instagram. They're doing their thing. They're doing their buy-to-lets. They're doing their essay. He's obviously just started out in he's actually an estate agent before. He had quite a lot of experience as a valuer working for a big corporate estate agency, and now he's set up as his own independent estate agent with Keller Williams, which is a big American brand. So we talk about that as well and why he did that and kind of his reasons for getting into property. So I think you guys will really enjoy it. We'll just cut to the interview with Gary. Okay, welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. Gary Wells, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Nick. How are you?
Brilliant. We've got Stephen Clark here as well.
Brian, Gary, thanks for joining us. Really looking forward to our chat today.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. It's a real privilege. Looking forward to it.
You put out some good content there on Instagram. You've got a brand called Hame Property, is that right?
That's right, yeah. No place like Hame.
I like it. It's quite catchy. And I seen you've got a wee motor that you drive about in as well. It's all branded up. So you're getting the image out there and you're getting the word out there. So we want to just take you right back to the start, Gary. Give us a little bit of background about yourself. You were actually a professional footballer to trades.
Yeah. I think growing up, we've all got dreams and stuff like that. And I was a bit late to it all, but yeah, essentially I wanted to be a professional footballer from year high, so I was really lucky to fulfill that, and done it most of my career until I retired. And yeah, I think in terms of as a level, I think it was fairly successful playing in Scotland and England and Australia. So, but like all things, comes to an end, or something's needing to be replaced at one stage. So I had to do a wee bit of soul searching, Nick, to be honest, after football, because you when you're in it, you just think everything's going to last forever. Everybody does, and despite coming towards the end, I just couldn't put my finger on what it was I wanted to do. So yeah, I went about and done a bit of soul searching and done some accreditations and stuff, and got some coursework done and several things actually, just to see what my next passion was, and just couldn't put my finger on it. But long and short is, I ended up in property, and then I became a property valuer in Edinburgh, and one thing led to another, and thought next thing should be.
See, with the football, I'm really interested to go into the footballing background. So you played at the top level. I mean, you were with Hearts, Kilmarnock. What was your best kind of most successful kind of stint, would you say?
I think I started, the first professional club that I was at was Hamilton Accies. So I was there. That was Sandy Clark that signed me to go there, and then I was there for a couple of years, and I got the move to Hearts. Now that was probably the most successful move and time in my life, because it was just starting out, just a nipper really, 19-year-old or whatever. So big club, and that's when it was, that was sky was the limit after that, for me in my head. But I did take a couple of injuries that kind of knocked me down a peg or two, and I moved down to England actually after a 4-year stint at Hearts, which was probably my highlight in my career. And then I went down to the Championship and played at a good level there as well with Gillingham and Walsall before coming back up to Kilmarnock. And then 4 years there, and these times fly. But then that was me thinking, right, what else is after this, because it's coming to the end. So I thought I want to go away abroad somewhere and try myself out there as well. So I ended up in Australia for a couple of years, and then came back and hung the boots up.
Is that where you retired then? Is that where you took your retirement to football?
Aye, that's where I did my serious brainstorming sessions. Aye, that was like, what else is going to happen here when I come back for
so what sort of age was that then, when you had to pretty much sort of retire in football then?
Mm-hmm. I started thinking about it about 32, to be honest. I think I've finished up at 34. I could have played on, but like most sort of older guys at that stage, you're nursing a few injuries, and my issue was my back, and I thought, I just seen past, nursing it week to week, and had a young family, and it was just one of those things. I thought it's not worth it, so let's start bridging over into something else. So
even you were at the top of your game, right, and you were a young guy, and obviously, you see the kind of life of football, or you perceive it, the outsider perceives it as, you turn up to training, you do a couple of hours, Monday to Friday or whatever, the rest of your day is your own sort of thing. You're getting everything served to you on a plate, you're driving about in the fancy motors and stuff. Like, did it ever enter your mind, when you're obviously earning good money and stuff, did you have it in your mind when you were a young guy, like, what am I going to do? What's the end game? What am I going to do after I retire? Did you have anything at all, ideas of property in your mind at that time? Or did that come kind of later on?
I wish I did, if I'm being honest. I mean, that would have been brilliant. Like you say, you're probably earning, a great salary, and if you had any financial IQ back then, you would have been doing a lot smarter things with your money. The quick answer is no. And whilst you got partial advice it's mainly from friends and family, isn't it? And you know what it's like.
Do you see that as a big problem
with that kind of thing then?
What's that, Stephen?
It's something I've always been interested in. When you see young footballers that make ridiculous money, do they not get kind of guided into kind of financial intelligence by the kind of clubs, and say, look, let's not give a 19 or 20-year-old laddie like 20 grand a week to blow, because everybody would blow their brains out with it and go off the rails.
I know. Certainly wasn't about when I was kind of going through the ranks. I know the bigger clubs did it, but if you weren't at, the big two in Glasgow or in the Premiership, it was not really. You had your agent, that kind of probably more just sent you on to some people for referrals, so he could get something out of it probably. But you know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily professional guidance. I wouldn't have said so. That would have been the ideal thing. If I'd have started chucking money into property back then, it would have been sky's the limit. But that's not the case. But
we need to get around some of these football clubs, Stephen, start getting them listening to the podcast. Do you know what I mean? Some of these young boys.
That'll be Gary's niche. As soon as you've been speaking about football, my eyes just glaze over, and I'm like, I've not even got a question. I've not even got an interest with on the property.
No, right. It's funny you say that though, Nick, because that is the thing. I'm in the process of actually working with the PFA and my mentor to kind of look into putting a course or education course together for sports people in general. First point of contact, because it's personal to me, would be football, but I've actually had quite a few guys contact me directly, on social media and stuff, saying, how's this happened, how do you get into it and all that. And because all these sort of courses or things that they want to maybe do, they're all at the weekends, and they struggle because of their schedule. So it might be something, that we're kind of growing at the minute, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's still early conversations, but that's something definitely that we're trying to get through.
That'd be cool, because I guess if you think about it, really, what are the options when you come at the end of your career? There's not there's not a huge amount of thing. I mean, most guys will probably come like coaches, managers, TV pundits, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But apart from that, you need to go and retrain, don't you?
Absolutely. I think that's, like you say, it's such a small market that everybody's trying to hit as well and break through. Like coaching and TV, like. Everybody aspires to do their coaching license and get into the coaching, but even that, I just thought, for security reasons, I just didn't like the idea of year to year, how's it going to work out for the family and stuff like that. I just thought, I just want to look a bit further ahead, and I took the long way around, but I feel like we've got there.
Cool. So you're living in Australia, right? You're what? You're 32. You met your wife at this point, your partner?
Yeah. Michelle came over with me. We weren't married at the time, but that was our sort of. We never had kids either, but so that was our extended pre-honeymoon time. So that was good. That was good. But we had good time.
When was it that the kind of property started taking your focus? Did you find something on YouTube or online or something like that, or how did you get into that?
Yeah.
Talk us through.
Well, over there, like, there's always when on your downtime, what is it you're doing? And I used to always find myself just looking at property, like, and thinking, I accidentally flipped property as a footballer because it's, you're 2-3 years at one place and then you're moving on. So that was all accidental, but I was always tidying properties up and selling them when I had to. So I wouldn't certainly make that professional, but over in Australia, after training and stuff, that's what I found myself doing, is just strolling property. But it wasn't until a good few years after being back in Scotland is when I seen like it's a classic one. I did read the old like Rich Dad Poor Dad book and all that, and then just one day in Edinburgh, seen a seminar and went to the free seminar, and I guess the rest is history.
Cool. So you did do some training then? Did you sign up for the course and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've done we've done quite a bit of training, and I think we still will. Always continue to do that. I just think it's the thing. At that stage, I was a valuer. I was a property valuer in Edinburgh, and it was always in the plans to grab a couple of properties as nest eggs for the kids or whatever, but. That's been a fortunate thing, because honestly, I honestly don't think we would have done as well. It would have been very slow paced and building up, a pot and what it's like with the guys and the momentum you can build if you do it properly. So I think the education side's been really indispensable to us.
Did both you and Michelle go on the education, Gary? Yeah.
Yeah, we did, Stephen. Yeah, we just went at it together. I mean, it was all weird, but I mean, probably triggered it. My mum and dad passed quite in quick succession, and it was just one of these things that both of us just looked at each other at that time and thought, this is just crazy, because I enjoyed my job, and probably so much so that I was doing too much yet. And Michelle's in corporate as well, and we felt like we were in the corporate rat race, and it just gave a bit of perspective when my parents passed, and we thought, right, we need to get this a bit better for us and work for us and time, and not only financially but more for time. And that yeah, it's massive. Yeah, like we just had a young family, and that was it. It was just part of the trigger. And so yeah, we pulled it, and because we're on it together, it's really good for that reason, because not every day's a great day, but when you've got somebody holding you accountable, it's much needed.
Yeah, definitely, and to bounce ideas off it and grow together as well, and be on the same page as each other, knowing where the end goal is. I think will be hugely important for both of you.
Yeah, totally. I think yeah, for that reason. I mean, just even seeing that both are working towards. I think that's another anchor, isn't it? And that's great. You know, I've got our stuff up beside us here, and it's just like we're just holding ourselves accountable and checking it out every day and measuring.
How does the marriage work with the business? How does it link in? Is it a good relationship, or if you say the wrong
answer? We'll be listening to this later on, by the way. So
I was going to say, is Michelle listening to that? Is she? Well, I think I'd like to think it's great, because we've obviously started up the additional Keller Williams business. You know what? It's just the way we can see what the bigger picture is, and you know, when the kids are down at bed at night, then you know that's us. We're back onto, you know, things to direct our future. And Michelle's better at certain things, and I'm better at certain things, and I think that's what's the good thing about it is, you know, the strengths and weaknesses are probably married up as well, pretty well. So no, I think it works really well, to be honest. You know, and if things are not great, then I can just jump in the car and go and do more viewings.
So you started the brand, so you both quit the kind of corporate jobs, did you? How did that work? Did you kind of transition across gradually, or did you decide you wanted to pursue a certain strategy? Did you have a plan? What was the plan?
Well, the plan was just one of us to get out our job at some point, just to kind of scale up a wee bit more. But saying that, I actually enjoyed my job, but Michelle's still in her role. She's a contractor in computing and financial sector. So she still does that alongside the other businesses. But it was me, because of, you know, knowing what I know in property already. We thought it might be best to get myself out eventually first. So yeah, we set a goal to just kind of get to the number that I was earning. Within a quick time frame, and then work on it from there.
What was the strategy that kind of that helped get that foundation in place then?
Just the simple buy to let situation, just because we're so close to everything. I know there's bigger, sexier things that you can go to, you know, further afield, but just thought it was more or less on our doorstep. Let's just fill our boots with that, get me out at some stage, and then we can start going into something else. So yeah, we had that and as a time frame, and yeah, just
buy to lets in Edinburgh, was it?
Buy to lets in North Lanarkshire and Ayrshire as well.
Why'd you not go back to your roots, mate, in Shettleston?
Well, yeah, I've never say never. I mean, there is good stuff in Glasgow as well, but I don't know. I just found that, you know, the ratio to offers, found like we were sort of, the penny was dropping in other areas. So we're not really restricted to particular areas. You know, we'll just, it's all about the numbers, as you know.
And what? So you had a wee bit of cash banked, did you, to kind of get yourself started and stuff? No, right. Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
It does get interesting. So, because I think that's the thing, because a lot of people, you know, associate, you know, with football or whatever, you've probably already got the money to go with it. But that wasn't the case for us. Like I said earlier, like I had no real advice on what to do with my money. I mean, I was buying houses and selling them, and I've got a big family. I've got 5 brothers, so we had a good time along the way as well. So no, my money went into pension, so it wasn't. I didn't really have anything at the ready to start with. So we had to do a lot of sort of raising finance and stuff like that. So we done all that to get us going, and we still continue to do that.
It's good though, mate. It helps you grow, learning that vital skill set of raising finance and not relying on your own pot of cash.
And this was tapping into your friends and family. Sorry, Stephen. This was tapping into friends and family network sort of thing to start with.
Yeah, exactly. That just exactly that. Just letting people know what we're doing. And I think once people, you know, once you document it and you're doing it starts getting easier, doesn't it? But yeah, it's always the dreaded chat that you think you're going to. It feels like you're asking people for money until you realise that you're actually trying to help people. That's when a penny drops for us. And so we've got people that kind of come to us now and just look to earn a wee bit more on on their money that's sitting about. But no, it's good.
And the strategy still the same with the cash, buy to lets, kind of below market value, add the renovation, then refinance and get their money back out.
Yeah, we'll still do that. We'll always try and grab, a good handful of them a year just because of what they are. A solid foundation of your portfolio. But yeah, we're just taking footsteps into service accommodation at the minute. So we are venturing out a bit and aiming to get a couple of flips this year as well. But yeah, it's. I mean, we're only a couple of years in, so we're very much part of the learning process, and even looking at the commercial stuff, as with yourself as well. So it's all going on.
What SA kind of areas are you going for? Are you going for a specific demographics or certain area?
Yeah, just anything that's kind of very, very close proximity to M8s, M9s. Just looking at that. It's not tourist stuff. It's more like blue collar workforce contracting work. So so that's what we're doing at the minute.
That be rent? Is that rent to rent, or would you be controlling these kind of properties by purchasing them?
Purchases, Nick. We've done that. Although we're in discussions with someone as well just now for a rent to SA, which we're hoping that's going to come to fruition.
So I seen this picture on your Facebook page yesterday of a trolley full of stuff at IKEA. It was yourself, wasn't it? It was IKEA yesterday. So it all sounds so glamorous, doesn't it? But then what is the kind of hard reality is, the day-to-day of being a property investor is you end up
Exactly. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's not all just, there's no sexy Instagram post sitting on a yacht somewhere, It's like, no, it's my second visit to IKEA. Try to cram it in that wee motor.
You always forget something as well, don't you? So you have to go back and get a hot dog.
Well, the meatballs are worth that, I suppose. No, but
how was that, by the way, with the queues and all that, with it being open after lockdown? Was it mental? Was it busy?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's just it's just slow. Like you say, if you just want one thing or you forgot one thing, you've still got that one-way system thing. It's an absolute killer.
So what are the challenges, apart from like standing big queues in IKEA and all that and setting up these essays? What other things have you found sort of difficult so far with your kind of property things? Have there been any big challenges that you spring to mind? Like, you had any kind of horror stories to share? Any down valuations, or have you had any nightmare tenants? Or
I've not had any, touch wood, I've not had any bad tenancies or down values. I've been quite lucky in that sense, and I know due diligence is obviously the main thing, but speaking to rich surveyors and all that before you're pushing the button so you know your numbers. But to be honest, just maybe the usual one with a builder, just that's a classic one for me. We had to get rid of a builder who, started out with us, done 2 or 3 projects, and then, you could start to see the standards slip and the timings slip. And then, we've actually let our sort of emotion rule it over when we really should have went with our gut and just says, let's push the button on him and get someone else in. But on one of our projects, it cost us a few grand extra, took us a couple of months extra, just try to juggle a few projects at a time. But that's it. I've got nothing really
not too many horror stories.
So, which is probably a good thing.
Sympathise with the builder one.
Absolutely. Do you find that the education thing was an important aspect in kind of getting the ball rolling and getting you started at a decent momentum and getting moving?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's always tempting, like you see the guys on the telly just buying stuff, and that I've had people, say that, like, is it easy? But to be honest, I know it's a bit of a long way around, but I think the education thing is if it's not, I think you are definitely, taking a bit of a gamble, because you don't know, like these things can cost you thousands and thousands of money if you're not doing it right. So, you're better to go through the channels, I personally think, and I'll still continue to as I go up, you know, to different more complex strategies. But I think if anybody's interested in it, I would definitely say start looking at coursework and just get a feel for it. I think the thing that comes alongside that is obviously getting in with like-minded people is one of the things, isn't it?
Yeah, growing your network is so important.
Did you go to Gary on the education thing and the courses and that? So did you go to? Was it a big kind of train? Was it one of the big ones? Big sort of seminar, and then were you in a room with a lot of people?
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was just like a big seminar, you know. Obviously telling you multiple strategies, and it's coming at you thick and fast, and you can't decide what you want to do, but basically you pick packages of what you think you want to do, and then you can play about with it further down the line. But yeah, we did that, and we kind of just picked, you know, buy to let and distressed properties and stuff like that. And so it's
ever work with anybody on a more kind of personal level, like a mentor or a coach, like more kind of in a smaller group or one-to-one? The reason I'm asking this is because, you know, obviously Stephen does his mastermind, it's very much like a smaller group, and I think from my own point of view, if I was to explore property training and go on a course, I think I would rather just go on a kind of smaller thing and just feel like I was more part of a team or a group, you know, like a kind of mastermind thing, rather than just being a big part of a big number.
I think you could see, certainly I think that's what the last year or so has done as well, is people have had to change their strategy on how they utilize their own business. So I think that's what's good now, is I can see more and more companies and people doing that and making it more a concentrated mastermind. And I think that you're spot on with that. I mean, even if it were ever to be something that we would consider, it would be something, just more, not that there is one-to-one option, and me and Michelle still continue to use a mentor one-to-one. So that is definitely something I would encourage people to do. But yeah, if you've got the smaller group, I think you'll get more value out of it, that's for sure.
I think that's great that you guys are still doing that and still pushing on education, because both of us are part of Jerry Alexander's mastermind group for
that's right.
Commercial, and it's something you want to learn and grow. And like you say, rather than jumping in and making stupid mistakes that could cost you tens of thousands of pounds, get the right education and spend a couple of grand and get the right knowledge first. And like you say, around like-minded people that are doing these deals, and it just kind of shows you what's possible as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. I mean, whether it's immediately, you know, for you or not, it's content that you've got and it's banked, isn't it? And you've got whatever it is, the coursework or references to go back on. I think that's the best thing about this whole thing, isn't it? It's like you've got so many avenues to go, and sky is the limit, you know, like, and that's the beauty. I just like the idea of, you know, no limitations on stuff, and say, right, well, we want this, this, and this for our life. And it's just a case of, right, what's the strategy and what's the asset that pays for that? You know, I love that.
And while you're on that, have you got any numbers in mind that you can share with us? We like the numbers. So have you got an idea of a figure? Like, what do you ideally sort of, you know, desire that you want cash flow in a month out of the property? Or, you know, how many properties do you see yourself owning in the future? You know, like, any ambitions you can share?
I don't really have any. You know, we've done set our goals this year, and it wasn't really about it was more about the actual passive and the earned income rather than the amount of units. So I think because, you know, we have had those memos, you know, those memos, those unicorns that everybody likes to talk about. You've had some of them, and we've had some that are just less than that. So it is there, and, you know, but I think even on that, if everything was ever to be not quite a perfect deal, we like to look at it over the whole portfolio. You know, that's kind of how we are measuring it. You know, what's our ROI over the whole lot of it. So we kind of try and get anything there. I mean, we're sort of circa 65% ROI on stuff at the minute. So it's good, but I mean, the one you always know is make sure you're kind of try to cash flow about 250 on a buy to let. That was our first thing to be mindful of, and just fill your books with them. So by the time you paid everything else off and saved 10% for contingency. So
have you got a number for where you want to hit for the buy to let portfolio before you move on to maybe other strategies like commercial or SA units and stuff like that?
As from a unit point of view, or
a unit or a cash flow kind of goal in mind, where I think
I'll let you into something that I do that's part of more like a visualization thing rather than actually what we want, because as I said, it's just about the numbers of income and passive and earned. So, but what we've got is we've got a key safe, and we like to just put our keys in each time, and you can start to see, and you can start just use it as a bit of a visualizer and say, right, I want this next key safe filled by 2024, and then I want the next key safe filled by. So I'm doing it a bit like that rather than having benchmarks in
how
terms of units.
How many keys do the key safes hold?
Well, let's put it this way: you can get it in. What can you get them in 20s? You can get the key safes in 50s. You can get them in 70s. So
exactly,
mate. You can get as many keys on there as you want, mate.
You're keeping us hanging, mate. You're keeping us hanging. I kind of get the vibe from you, despite being like an ex-footballer and all the rest of it. You're pretty down to earth guy. Sounds like you've got your family. You put your family first in that. For you, is it more about the kind of lifestyle choice, what property can provide you with, rather than the actual kind of like the flashiness and the riches that you could get at the end of it? Do you know what I mean? Are you buying yourself time to be with your kids, basically?
Yeah, that spot on, Nick. That's what it is. The thing, even wouldn't really matter in terms of what we've kind of got. It will never really be that kind of flashiness, and it's bizarre to say that, because people, again, because I'm historically, a footballer associated, you think it's going to be all flash cars and swimming pools or whatever, but it's totally not us. Like, I think we're just trying to get, we like holidays and simple stuff, but it's always as a unit. It's not. This is not about trying to get a Ferrari sitting in your driveway. It's not. Yeah. It's nothing like that.
No, that's cool. That's cool. What about sort of moving on then from, obviously you've got the buy-to-lets, you're trying a bit of the service departments and stuff like that, but you've also just started off doing a estate agency, haven't you? So you've set up with Keller Williams. So that's, do you want to explain a little bit about the kind of model of that and how that works?
Yeah, well, it was just something. Obviously, it's long and short as it's an estate agent. It's the biggest estate agency and globally, probably as a company. Certainly in the US, it's very, very dominating. So it just came over here recently, and I was just headhunted. I was pestered by a couple of guys just trying to get me on board with the idea of it. I don't really know. I think they knew people that knew me, and just thought it would be a good fit because they've been watching me on social media and they know what I do, and they thought it could work alongside what I do. And the minute I kind of had that chat with them, I thought, absolutely, because I actually enjoyed my job as a valuer. I really did enjoy it. It's just that I took it too far in terms of the amount of time I was spending on it.
And you're working for somebody else and making somebody else money, and you're just part of the whole machine. Totally.
And just not even that. I mean, I guess it completes the jigsaw as well for the for the full cycle. You can buy and you can sell. And I've actually had people, coming from my past, coming to say, he's still working and and he's still an estate agent, and I'm like, no. So I probably missed quite a bit of business opportunities as well. So I thought, what, this is a natural thing to do, pick and choose. Me and Michelle looked at our weekly schedule and thought, if we could compress what we do as property and our works, we probably have got a couple of 2-3 days spare, and I just thought, it's about I know, like a lot of the guys always talk about making sure you've got your passive and your earned at a good level. So we set new goals this year and thought, right, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I think that it's always good to have, like, the thing I like about the estate agency, I actually looked into it myself. I mean, I decided to go down focused on the letting side of things for just now, but um, with that, building that, you are building like a business, kind of like a business, a foundation to a decent business there. If you ever want to kind of then step it up and get like another team member on or something like that, because you hear about these guys in America, that are the Keller Williams real estate agents and all that. They've built up teams and stuff like that, and it's like a proper business. And then it means that you can go on holiday without, having to worry too much, and you've got people to look after it. So I guess
100%.
and I think as well, it's quite cool. I can see the kind of American style estate agency really kind of coming to the UK now, and there's a lot of people getting involved in it. And I think the big corporate agents, like the Countrywide and the Slater Hogs and all the rest of it, they seem to be just dying off, because who wants to go in and deal with like a faceless, estate agent that you're just a number at the end of the day. There's no personal service at all. People want to deal with like you, as a person. They like you, they buy into you, they can trust you. And I think that will get bigger and bigger in the UK. Do you think that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my whole point of going with that particular model, because I've worked for big firms in Edinburgh, and you're right, you can kind of, as a client, you can get lost in the swim of who am I dealing with on the phone now type of thing, whereas this because it's just me and Michelle's doing a little bit of the admin on it, then I can't actually take on too much. So it's more like you say, it's a bespoke tailored service for only so many clients, and that's the thing, so that you're holding their hand through the full sales cycle. So that was one of the big things for me, is like, well, if I'm going to do it, that's the style I want. I think it coincides with my personality, and certainly all the reviews and stuff that I used to get in the past, it was more about that, more personable sort of style through the service. So I've bought into that idea, and you're right. I think it will grow arms and legs, because I think the market, like the Purple Bricks and all these companies have had the kind of time of trying to sponge up the market, but really clients want a wee bit more than that, even when it comes to negotiating and stuff like that. You can see, I mean, it's good for us when we're trying to buy them, because it's direct to vendor 9 times out of 10, isn't it? So like, if we know that, if that's the thing, like we've got the two different hats, haven't we? The investor and what the estate agents want. So that's why I think it's going to be great for me as a business.
It could bring you opportunities as well. But one question that I was wanting to ask you is, because I experienced a wee bit of this. So you're kind of like, you've started investing in property and all that, and you kind of, to your kind of circle and your friends and all that, you look like kind of Billy Big Boss, like an investor and stuff like that. And then you're going an estate agent, and people are thinking, well, is it only an estate agent now? Because I had the same when I went to set up as a letting agent. Who the fuck wants to be a letting agent? So what are you doing? I thought you were a property investor. Do you know what I mean? So like, I kind of felt people were kind of judging me for that, but I thought, you know what? I don't give a shit. And at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing here. And I've now become quite passionate, like more passionate, I would say, about building my lettings agency business rather than actually invest in buy-to-let properties. I know that investing in buy-to-let properties long term, it's going to really pay off. But if I can build an underlying business that will support me when I want to go and do the things I want to do, and that for me is, I'm quite passionate about it as well. So I don't know if you ever got that kind of, what are you doing being an estate agent?
I've had that my whole life. Like I think it's the ego thing, innit? It's like you're worried about what other people think, and that's something I had to come to terms with from football. So you're spot on, and you know what? That's our problem, isn't it? Because we're letting wee things grow in our head that probably don't even exist, and that's the thing, like. But you need to know what the big picture is, and that's what you've done that for. Who cares what people think? Like, that's all I'm thinking as well, is what other business can we grow alongside this? Like you say, we can go away on holiday, and things have been well looked after by other members of our company. So yeah, just who cares? Let's just knock it out, and we'll thank ourselves in 10 years' time.
And I know, definitely. Are you going after any specific market, or you just sort of take on whatever? Are you going, you try to focus on Edinburgh specifically, or what kind of clients are you looking for?
Well, most of the I'm probably more so known in Edinburgh, because that's where I was listing for 4 or 5 years prior. So, but saying that, I'll be doing West Lothian and Edinburgh. That'll probably be my main patch. But I'm happy to obviously look at things further afield if I'm helping people out, for sure. But that'll probably be my concentrated area.
How does the conflict of interest come into play if you get an opportunity come to you through your estate agency hat, and that it's a distressed seller and the seller's looking for this kind of quick sale? Is it okay for you to come on board and say, look, I'm an investor, I can buy this offer, I've got a company that can purchase property, but it won't be at market value, here's what we can offer you, but we can also offer you the full on the market service? Is that black and white?
I mean, I know it sounds a bit like a conflict of interest. So it would always be a case of just, depends where it's come from. If it's Michelle and I that have done direct to vendor campaigns in a certain area, in, let's say North Lanarkshire, then that I know where that sources came from. So that will be a case of we'll be trying to do that for Hame, because that's how we got the contact. But if it's a valuation that's came through for Keller Williams, of course, that's the main thing, is try to help the client, best interest of the client, make sure they get as much as they want, because that's what they rang us for,
I mean, as you know, as an investor, it's not always the thing that the client wants the most. So, the person might phone up Keller Williams for a valuation, but you kind of sense their situation and know they're desperate to sell the house very, very quickly, and the monetary value isn't the most important thing. So I always wonder,
exactly,
how it sits there, how it sits.
Yeah, no, I mean, if that's, if that is what the client is getting to the bottom of, what's the main objective with them, what is your push button there, and let's find out if we can help you. If it is, finding an off-market source to buy it, and it's not us, then fine. We've even got contacts at, like-minded investors. So no, you're right. I mean, I think it's just that you just go through a chain of, how we can help the client. So if the client's not wanting to go on the open market, then by all means we can open it up to an off-market deal. But it's really dependent on where it comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that positions you well as an estate agent. I always kind of blows my mind that estate agents are investors, because, like you say, it's not always a solution to put on open market. It could be they don't want on the open market. They need a quick sale. They need a very bespoke sale that only an investor can offer. So that both the hats on and kind of offer the best solution for the client, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, totally agree. It's just making sure that you're doing the right thing. That's the that's where it all sits, because I'm a big believer on all that. Making sure you're doing the right thing.
I think the key thing with basically everything in business is transparency. See, if you're transparent with people and you basically don't try and fuck them over, then you'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? Because we talked to a couple of guys last week who were doing assisted sales, and obviously that has the potential, to go, a bit wrong. If people feel they're getting done over or done out of money on their properties and stuff like that, then that can go pretty sour as a relationship. But these guys were spot on. They were basically totally upfront with the client, with the seller right from the start, and told them exactly how the process went, and totally 100% transparent. So as long as you're transparent, you can go wrong.
I've got a funny story with that, mate. Actually, I was just laughing when you were telling that. The two guys that I'm doing the Bridge Earn project with, from a mastermind group, they're kind of really, really nice young guys, hungry to learn, hungry to get involved in property, and they found a property up by Perth, and it was on this. They went and viewed it through the estate agent. Spoke to the old dears in our mid to late 80s. Lowballed offer, not interested, still sitting in the market and stuff. They came back to the old dear and they chat the door and they're chatting away and said, look, what are you looking to do? And she's looking obviously to retire and downsizing something on a single level, on the ground level and stuff like that. And the guys are just genuinely looking to try and find a solution for this old dear and try and get this property. So they're saying, well, look, we can maybe help you find somewhere that's suitable for you, and blah and blah. And she's like, no problem at all. We'll come back and you can speak to my son in front of myself and stuff like that. So I guess a phone call from my builder a couple of days ago. These guys that you're doing this property with, they're trying to buy a property on such and such road. And I don't know, and I wasn't too sure. So I just heard this woman swearing and shouting at all the like abuse at the guys on site. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to get 100. They're trying to rip my mum off and steal her house from her. And I'm going to my brothers. And you're like, what the hell?
No, mate. This is the problem. This is the issue. Because, like, you know, we're always talking about, oh, we're out to find the solution. We're out to help. But, you know, at the end of the day, we want to make money as well. And it's finding that balance, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
We're in business. We're trying to make money. But it was obviously completely misstrued from obviously the old dear's family that's flipped out and they were getting abused at the site.
That's a front page of the Sunday Mail, that one, or the Daily Mail. Definitely.
I think you've got to get witnesses into these things. Honestly, that's what I've learned that from the valuation stuff. Like when I would go out to meet, you know, an older person or that, I would say, right, I'm not want to commit you to signing it now until you actually are fully aware, and I'll do a second appointment just to make sure that the family members are comfortable with it as well. Because I think that, you know, like that's exactly got that kind of thing written all over it, you know.
Yeah. That's a really, really good point, actually. Yeah.
Aye. So
you've got a lot of experience then. How long were you a value of? Was it McEwen Fraser or something like that? You used to watch.
I was there for nearly 5 years. So yeah, definitely know the market.
I mean, that along with, you know, obviously we're talking about education and stuff like that, but that experience itself of just sitting down with vendors and sellers and stuff like that, that's obviously put you in good position as well for moving forward with your business. You know,
I know see if you'd have said to me when I was playing football I'd be doing all this stuff, Nick, I'd have laughed at you, because I'm totally not like that as a character. You know, like I do my best to try and stay away from any press or, you know, social media. I know I'm just totally, that's right out of my comfort zone. But you know what? If we've got businesses, we need to let people know about them, and that's all it is, isn't it?
Well, you've done a great job here, mate, and we've really enjoyed the interview, and it's been a great chat. So, do you want to tell people, obviously, you know, if they're looking to sell their house through, you know, get an estate agent, or if they're looking to work with you at all, where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're looking for the estate agency side, then you just need to go onto the Keller Williams website, which is www.kwuk.com, and then just type in Gary Wales, and that'll be finding your agent in there, and I can help you with that. If you want to speak to us about, you know, our own stuff, what we do, me and Michelle, you'll find us on Facebook, and that's at Hame Property UK. And also on Instagram, you'll find us on there. So it's Hame_property as well.
Right, mate. Love the name, love the branding.
Wish
you and Michelle all the best.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Good. We'll put all those in the show notes, and thanks for joining us. Brilliant, Gary. All the best. Hope everyone goes well. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks again.
Cheers, Gary.
See you soon. Cheers.
So I hope you enjoyed the interview with Gary Wales. I know myself and Nick certainly enjoyed this chat. Really down to earth guy, similar to ourselves, a family man, looking for the bigger picture, looking to provide for his family and generations to come, isn't he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as always, guys, if you could take a screenshot of the podcast and tag us on Instagram, and we'll share it out to our followers as well. Jump on the Facebook group, and if you have a spare couple of minutes, if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts as well, that would be much appreciated. Thanks very much, and see you next week.